Last week on Instagram, I invited you to ask me anything. First, you wanted to know why I got tenants in the bungalow I just fixed up versus selling or living in it. Buck and I did think about living in it, but it's a 4-bedroom, 2-bath, and Buck doesn't need his own office. He prefers to work in the yard. There just would have been a lot of unused space. I'd rather fill that space with money. So I've got renters. And I didn't sell because I don't have to liquidate, so I'd rather own an appreciating cash flowing asset. Also, if I ever wanted to liquidate the majority of my equity, I could always do a cash out refinance. This is very common among investors. It's called the BRRRR strategy, which stands for buy, rehab, rent, refinance, and repeat. BRRRR! It's cold in here. Bring It On reference? Anyone? Okay. As for the next projects I'm working on that you guys asked about, I'm gonna work on the duplex that I own and I'm sitting in next. I live in one of the units and then I have tenants in the other unit that cover my mortgage. It's commonly referred to as house hacking. It's a great way to get into real estate and save for future projects. Now, my unit is updated, but it definitely could use some new decor and organization. The rental unit, on the other hand, looks like it's straight out of that 70s show, except Ashton Kutcher doesn't come with your rent. So it definitely needs some updating. I'm also giving some thought to finishing the unfinished 3rd floor walk-up attic. You know how I feel about finishing unfinished space. Right up there with Reese's Peanut Butter Cup Blizzards. Also, I've been looking for a couple months now for another fixer-upper, but it is such a hot seller's market. It's really difficult to find a good deal. So what I do is I look at what a house can go for after it's fixed up, and I subtract what I could buy it for, the remodeling costs, and my mistakes I have to fix. That will give you your profit margin, and sadly, I haven't found a house that has a profit margin that would make it worth my time. Pro tip for getting a good deal in a hot seller's market, try and go straight to the seller. That's how I got into this space, which was a question many of you had. I wanted to buy another house, but people were paying over asking price for homes in my area, and Homegirl's way too cheap for that. And I was walking in the neighborhood, saw our for sale by owner sign, less competition, no realtor fees, so I was able to get a good price on this house, but it needed updates. And I needed a new challenge. Fast forward 8 months later, and this is the world I live in now. If you check out my old Instagram posts, you'll see I did a real hard right turn. Travel, inspirational quotes, let's tear out some carpet. You guys wanted to know if this is what I do full time and what is my background. And yes, I consider myself a full-time content creator and part-time landlord, or as I like to call it, Lord of the Lands. As for my background, let me dust off my resume. In 2009, I graduated from the University of Wisconsin-Madison with the prestigious degree of Communication Arts. A couple of you have some really good Googling stalking skills and saw that I was Miss Wisconsin my senior year of college. And I got to compete at Miss USA, which was pretty cool. From there, I was in local television for about 4 years before I moved to Los Angeles, where I was a national TV host and producer.
And if you've ever changed the station from country music, you know who she is, all about that bass.
When I moved back to Wisconsin, I moved to the internet. Thank you to you kind folks who have wondered why I don't have my own HGTV show yet. Breaking news! I'm actually working on pitching a show with a production company that has successfully sold shows to networks like HGTV, DIY Network, Discovery Plus, so fingers crossed. Send me your good vibes and I'll definitely keep you posted. A lot of you want to know how I'm doing since my split this past fall. Thank you so much to the outpour of kind messages I've received and for caring how I'm doing. And I'm super happy to say that I'm actually doing really well. I went through a very rough 4 to 5 months. There was a lot of ugly Kim K crying.
You put me in such an uncomfortable situation.
But luckily that crying paid off because I feel like I'm entering a spring in my life. Literally and figuratively. The birds are chirping outside and in my soul. A lot of you asked what I've done to get through a difficult season, and first of all, big fan of therapy. There seriously shouldn't be stigma around it. Get yourself a good therapist and you will change your life. Also, journaling, baths, time with loved ones, time alone, laughter, cardio. I've recently gotten into cycling and it's been so good at releasing pent-up emotions. Sometimes when I get back in my car after class, I just scream at the top of my lungs. Highly recommend. Worth the weird looks. Oh, and puppy cuddles. They fix everything. Speaking of puppies, you guys asked a ton about Buck. He was the best thing to come out of 2020. He is so sweet and silly and has never met a person or dog that he doesn't love. Instant BFFs with everybody. He may not look like it now, but he's also a little naughty. His trainer Need some training. On that note, I'm gonna wrap it up, but I'm answering more of the questions I didn't get to in my Instagram stories. Thank you so much for your questions, and we'll be back to our regularly scheduled programming next week.
All I really wanna see is the money.